Imagine a world where one secret could change everything, a mother's hidden truth that could have rewritten destiny. In Part 2, we dive deep into the emotional battlefield of Kunti and Karna, where a single revelation might have mended broken bonds and altered the course of history. And just when you think it ends there, get ready for the jaw-dropping tale of Barbaric, the warrior with the power to end a war in just 1 minute. How would fate have changed if divine secrets and unstoppable power converged for peace? If you're as captivated by these what-if moments as we are, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And don't go anywhere. Stay with us till the very end as we uncover these epic twists that challenge everything we thought we knew about destiny. Of all the what-ifs in the Mahabharata, none is more poignant than the story of Karna. He is the tragic hero who fought for the Kauravas, unaware until the end that he was actually the eldest Pandava brother, the firstborn of Kunti. The secret of Karna's birth is a ticking time bomb in the story. When it finally comes out, it's too late to stop the war. But what if that secret had been revealed earlier? Could the war have been avoided, or at least ended differently? Kunti, as a young maiden, had been granted a boon to have a child with divine beings, and she unwittingly bore a son by the sun, god Surya. That child was Karna. Unmarried and afraid, Kunti set the baby afloat in a river, and thus Karna was raised by a charioteer's family, never knowing his royal blood. Fast forward to the famous tournament in Hastinapur. A young Karna shows up to challenge Arjuna's prowess. He's ridiculed for his unknown, presumably low birth. In that tense moment, Kunti recognizes Karna as her son. Imagine her shock. She nearly faints. Yet she says nothing. Duryodhana seizes the chance to befriend Karna, making him a king of Anga on the spot, and Karna swears loyalty to him for life. This was the origin of Karna's unbreakable bond with Duryodhana. Now, picture an alternate scene. As Karna steps into the arena, Kunti runs out, crying, "Stop! That young man, he is my son!" Q gasps from the crowd. This revelation would have turned the world upside down. The Pandavas would learn they have an elder brother. Karna's long-standing humiliation of being called a Sutaputra, lowborn, would vanish in an instant. He is actually of royal and divine lineage. Such a moment could have completely rewired the relationships. Karna might never have joined Duryodhana's cause at all if he knew his true identity and was welcomed by the Pandavas. In fact, one analysis boldly states, the whole Mahabharata war could have been avoided by that single word of Kunti, that Karna was her son. That's how crucial this secret was. Think of the psychology here. Much of Karna's drive to fight Arjuna was to prove himself, to overcome the stigma of his birth. If he knew he was actually a Pandava, and if the 5 brothers embraced him, Karna's bitterness towards them might have melted. True, Karna might feel resentment for being abandoned, but Kunti's acknowledgement could also heal that wound over time, or at least open the door to reconciliation. The Pandavas, especially Yudhishthira, would likely have welcomed Karna. After all, unity within the family might have prevented a war that cost so many lives. Without Karna, Duryodhana loses his greatest champion and dearest friend in the war. Perhaps seeing the tables turn, he might even give up the fight altogether. In the real timeline, Kunti's secret came out too late to stop the war. But in our alternate scenario, if Kunti had spoken up years earlier, the Pandava versus Kaurava dynamic would have shifted dramatically. Karna and Arjuna might never have developed that lethal rivalry. They might have fought side by side instead. Draupadi's Swayamvara might have gone differently too if everyone knew Karna's status. So many dominoes would fall in a new direction. At the very least, Karna, the game changer, wouldn't be standing against the Pandavas in battle. The Kurukshetra war, if it still happened, might have been a very short affair ending in Pandava victory on day 1. Or, quite plausibly, Duryodhana might have realized he stood no chance and avoided the war altogether when even the invincible Karna was not on his side. This mother's choice scenario is one of the most emotional could-have-beens. It underlines a core theme. Individual choices and secrets can steer the destiny of entire nations. Kunti's lifelong guilt was that her silence led to her children fighting each other to the death. Indeed, one word from her could have averted a fratricidal war. If you ever read the epic, that moment when Kunti finally tells the Pandavas after the war, "Karna was your brother," hits like a truck. Yudhishthira is devastated. He actually blames Kunti for causing needless bloodshed. Even Dhritarashtra, the blind king, had moments where he could have averted disaster. He was often torn between love for his sons and the voice of wisdom, usually provided by his brother Vidura. After the war, Dhritarashtra bitterly admitted, "I didn't listen to Vidura's timely advice, and now I'm drowned in a sea of sorrows." He and Gandhari lost all 100 sons. If only he had heeded Vidura earlier, say, forbidding that rigged dice game or restraining Duryodhana's vengeful plans, the Pandavas' fury may not have been ignited and negotiations might have succeeded. The king's failure to check his son at critical moments is a direct cause of the war. So, could the elders have prevented the Mahabharata war? Possibly, yes. The epic itself subtly acknowledges this. But here's the catch. One commentator wryly observed, had Bhishma resolved all these issues perfectly, there would have been no epic and no lesson to be learned by successive generations. In other words, the Mahabharata deliberately shows even good men failing to teach us something. Still, as an audience, we can't help but sigh and think, if only Grandpa Bhishma had put family above throne, so much suffering could be spared. It's the eternal conflict between duty and morality. Time for a surprising twist that many casual fans of the Mahabharata don't know about. What if I told you there was a warrior who could have ended the Kurukshetra war in just 1 minute? It sounds like hyperbole, but Indian folklore outside the main text speaks of Barbaric, the grandson of Bhima, who possessed an almost apocalyptic power. If he had fought in the war, the ending would have been utterly different. Basically, no one would be left to tell the tale. The only reason you don't see Barbaric in the war is because Krishna intervened to stop him. This is one alternate scenario that was thankfully averted within the narrative itself. The legend goes like this. Barbaric, son of Ghatotkacha, and thus Bhima's grandson, had learned archery from his mother and was granted 3 divine arrows by Lord Shiva. With these 3 infallible arrows, Barbaric had a unique ability. The first arrow would mark all targets he wanted to destroy. The second would mark all those he wanted to spare. And the third arrow would destroy everything not marked to be spared. Essentially, with just 3 arrows, he could wipe out entire armies. He was unbelievably powerful, perhaps the most formidable warrior of that era. Before the Kurukshetra war began, Barbaric set out to join the battle, vowing to fight on the side he perceived as weaker. He had promised this to his guru as a fair stance in war. This vow, however, had a dangerous caveat. Since the war's balance of power could shift, Barbaric might end up annihilating everyone by switching sides repeatedly, a recipe for total destruction. Lord Krishna, always a step ahead, encountered Barbaric and learned of his potent ability. If Barbaric fought no matter which side he started on, his vow would eventually trigger a complete decimation of both armies. Krishna decided this could not be allowed. To prevent an uncontrollable catastrophe, he asked Barbaric for a guru dakshina, a parting gift, in the form of Barbaric's own head. Being a pious hero, Barbaric agreed without hesitation to sacrifice himself. He severed his head and gave it to Krishna before the war, thus neutralizing this ultimate weapon. Krishna, moved by Barbaric's devotion, blessed his severed head with the boon to witness the entire war from a high vantage point. Later, when the Pandavas debated the source of their victory, Barbarics had declared that Krishna's strategies and timely interventions were the key to success. In reward, Krishna ensured that Barbaric would be worshipped in the Kali Yuga under the name Shyam, Katu Shyamji. This twist is a reminder that sometimes not using a power can be as significant as using it. An alternate ending where Barbaric fights would have turned the Mahabharata into a nihilistic tragedy with no survivors. Just a lone, remorseful Barbaric amid endless carnage. Thankfully, that ending was averted, preserving a world in which hope and renewal were possible. If you found the story of Barbaric as mind-blowing as I do, give this video a thumbs up and share it with fellow mythology enthusiasts. And don't forget to subscribe for more epic twists and turns from ancient lore. Up to now, we've explored how different choices by key figures could have changed the course of the Mahabharata. But a deeper question remains. Was the war destined to happen? Could it really have ended differently? Or was everyone, Duryodhana, Arjuna, Bhishma, Karna, merely following a cosmic script set in motion by the divine? According to the Puranas and related texts, the earth had become overburdened by adharma, unrighteousness, due to arrogant kings and misguided warriors. In the Bhagavata Purana and Vishnu Purana, it is stated that the Kurukshetra war was part of Lord Vishnu's plan. Krishna, his avatar, was destined to restore Dharma by eliminating the forces of chaos. This suggests that some form of a great conflict was bound to happen, whether or not the specific choices of individuals had a role. The characters themselves voice this tension between free will and fate. After the war, Yudhishthira, overwhelmed with grief and guilt, is consoled by Vyasa, who reminds him that the events were not solely the result of human actions, but also the workings of a higher cosmic order. Even Gandhari, in her bitter sorrow, curses Krishna for allowing the war to take place, a curse that later manifests in the self-destruction of the Yadava clan. Such episodes imply that while the details of the war might have been altered by choices, the need for a cosmic reset was always present. On one hand, if you lean on the destiny argument, the Mahabharata war was an unavoidable cleansing of the world. If Duryodhana had yielded the 5 villages or Kunti had revealed Karna's identity earlier, fate might have found another way to ensure a great conflict occurred. On the other hand, the epic also stresses the importance of moral choices and personal responsibility. The Bhagavad Gita, which Krishna imparts to Arjuna on the battlefield, emphasizes acting according to one's duty without attachment to the results. The war is portrayed as a Dharma Yuddha, a battle fought because all peaceful avenues had been exhausted. Perhaps the truth lies in between. While the spark of war was fated by the cosmic need to restore balance, the details of its ignition and outcome were determined by human choices. Every decision, every secret kept, and every silence from the wise contributed to the scale and sorrow of the conflict. Exploring these alternate endings isn't just a fun intellectual exercise, it highlights the core lessons of the Mahabharata. We see that greed and ego, as embodied by Duryodhana, can destroy even one's own family. We learn that inaction in the face of injustice, the silence of Bhishma and Drona, enables tragedy. We feel the poignant cost of secrets and missed opportunities, Kunti's hidden truth about Karna. And we understand the importance of wise intervention, Krishna's handling of Barbaric's power. In one alternate Mahabharata, there's no war. Righteousness prevails through peace. In another, the war happens but ends swiftly with minimal bloodshed because critical figures chose unity over conflict. And in the darkest timeline, the war leads to complete annihilation, leaving nothing but endless sorrow. The epic reminds us that while destiny may set the stage, it is our choices that decide the quality of the outcome. The Mahabharata, with its layered narratives and moral dilemmas, teaches us that even in an inevitable struggle, how we act can either compound or alleviate the suffering. Thank you for staying with me through this journey of alternate histories and deep reflections on fate, choices, and Dharma. If you enjoyed this exploration, please like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into mythology, history, and philosophy. Let me know in the comments, which alternate ending intrigues you the most? And what lessons do you take from the epic's timeless questions about destiny and decision? Until next time, remember, every choice you make shapes your destiny. Choose wisely and stay curious.